Shalom, shalom. All right, we're gonna do this again. I just did a test. I want to see if it's clear. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Okay, Baba Kusha. Lord, we'll be good though. You know, we was good when we did the test. All right. See. Lord, we'll be good though. All right. Okay, I don't see any comments, but I would rather say you can hear my voice. Okay, yeah, we just gonna roll. Okay, cool. Con. Hey, the water, fear Yahweh, the water. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, 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 Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Bless you, Yahweh, bless you, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Call Halayim La, Allahayinawa, Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. All praise to our power, Yahweh, name of the Most High, which means He to be, He is, He exists. Bahasham, in the name, Yahweh Shai, the name only begotten Son of Yahweh, whom the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. His real name in ancient Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, which is the Savior. Okay, His name means He is the Savior, He is the deliverer, He is salvation. All right, Bahasham, in the name, Rakah HaKodash, the Holy Spirit. So once again, Call Halayim La, Allahayinawa, Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to the elect, the house of David. All right, you beloved of the Lord out there, man. All right, this your brother, Kazaki Allah from GMS, Mississippi, former member of GMS Chicago. But I'm still with those brothers in the spirit. Back at you once again through the spirit, power, and mercy of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Okay, and real quick, we just gonna hop right into it. And I pray it's edifying. Okay. As the old saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay. As the old saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And to be honest, this is worth more than that. You know, what you're looking at is an artist's depiction of Joseph, one of our forefathers, one of the 12 patriarchs, one of the sons of Jacob. Okay. You see it for yourself. This is a wall painting in ancient Egypt of one of our forefathers, whose name is Joseph, which in the Hebrew is Yahweh Sap, which means he adds. Okay. I mean, I don't have too much to say. I mean, it just speaks for itself. But we gonna speak, you know, we gonna get into a few other things. But in 2009, this was gifted to me by the elder Malcolm in Chicago. I want to say 2009. All right. I want to say 2009. He gifted this to me, either 2009 or 2010. You know, Lord willing, not off on the date, but I'll say, you know, to be careful, between 2009 and 2011, that's when the elder gave me this picture, man. And it always did something to my spirit, you know, when he gave this to me, because Joseph is the father of the tribes Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay? Ephraim are the so-called Puerto Ricans. Manasseh are the so-called Cubans today. And this is what your father looked like, you know? Look at him. Extremely dark. This is him on the right, holding the staff, okay? And we know the history. We're going to read some of it anyway, you know, because I got my sword with me, all right? But Joseph, he was the viceroy in ancient Egypt. He was second to Pharaoh, all right? He was governor. He was over ancient Egypt. You know, the Lord used him to, you know, preserve it. But also the old world in general at that time, because when that famine hit the land of Egypt, it not only hit Egypt, it hit the surrounding areas, because, you know, our other forefathers were affected. The other sons of Jacob, even Jacob himself, you know, was affected. You know, our forefather Jacob, you know, but when that dearth hit, when that famine came, it affected, you know, all the surrounding regions, you know, which is why our forefathers went to the land of Egypt to get food, you know, but, you know, I'm going to speak on some of that, you know, a little later, but, you know, I came across this picture, like I said, you know, the Zaquan Malcolm, he gifted this to me between the years 2009 and 2011, which is spiritual to me because in 2009 I actually had went to Puerto Rico, and to this day I'm like, man, what possessed me to go there? You know what I'm saying? But it was spiritual to me. I mean, I don't mind telling the story, you know, because basically I was newly in the truth at that time. It's like around like August of 2009, and I remember vividly because I know around that time Michael Jackson had passed, you know, which you know, I like Michael Jackson music, you know. Our birthday damn near almost exact, you know, so I'm a so-called Virgo or whatever. But you know, in 2009, and I'm gonna be honest about it, I used some damn I don't want to speak, you know, saying too much, everything in detail, because we got scoffers. But I'm gonna just say a very close relative of mine passed, you know, and I was left some money, you know, so spirit got on me, man. I wanted to go to Puerto Rico, and I could have chose other places, but spirit was on me like, nah, you need to go there, you know. But to me, that's spiritual because in 2009, between 2009 and 2011, the Zaquan Malcolm gave me this. You know, so this means a lot to me, and I'm grateful the Lord blessed me to still have it to this day. But as you can read this, and Lord will, you know what? This video may still be up on YouTube. You know, it's a minute and 22 seconds long. It may or may not be up because, like I said, this is a long time ago. It's a long time ago to me when he gave me this. But it says, biblical Joseph depicted as Nubian on the wall of Egypt, Kemet. But we know that he was not an Egyptian. And look how the spirit do. You can't make this up. It says 144. You know, 14,402 people watch this, which YouTube play with the views. But see, this is what we got from it. This is the spirit. All right. And the number 2 itself is spiritual because dealing with Joseph, and I pray this is edifying. We're gonna get more to it in a minute. But the number 2 is significant with Joseph because Joseph represents the second stick dealing with the 12 tribe sign, Joseph, which in the Hebrew is Yahweh, which means he adds. All right. He was the 11th son of our forefather Yaquab, Jacob. The number 11 is a spiritual number. All numbers are spiritual. All numbers have significance. But 11, well, 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, 2 can either mean a joining together or division. It can mean coming together or a dividing. And that was spiritual. Joseph was separated from his brothers, but the Lord brought them back together. And the Lord did that in spirit with the 12 tribes as a whole. He separated us, but he brought us back together. Now, keep in mind, this is the forefather of the so-called Puerto Ricans and so-called Cubans today. All right. Now, what I want to do before I, get some images and get some Hebrew words, dealing with Ephraim and Manasseh, I want to go to the sword, Go to our weapon, the source of knowledge, which is the scriptures, okay? So we're going to go to Genesis, and we're going to read 42. We're going to get 42 and also 45, because I just really want to get the point. Now, keep in mind, look at how Joseph looks, man. Okay. All right. Look at how he looks. He's definitely not an Edomite. Okay. And this should say something, because when you look at this, you're like, man, is that an Egyptian? Like, nah. That's what you would call a Hebrew, which shows you what the original Hebrews, look like. And it's just truth. Hey, like my big bro say, Zaquan Malcolm would say, man, this is just truth. A few brothers say that. I know, Twin Fam, Zaquan Ariala, he be saying that, brother from Dallas. Hey, it's just true, Yeah, you damn right. So let's go. Okay, we're in Genesis 42, and we're gonna read verse 1. Now when Jacob, Yaquab, or Yaquab, which means he supplants, he's supplanter. So when Jacob saw that there was corn or grain in Egypt, the land of Ham, Jacob said unto his sons, why do you look one upon another? So he like, man, hey, y'all procrastinating. We need to get up out of here and go down to Egypt, get something to eat. And he said, behold means look. I have heard that there is corn or grain in Egypt. Get you down thither and buy for us from there, that we may live and not die, because that famine came. And Joseph's 10 brothers or brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, which is the baby brother, now Joseph and Benjamin had the same mother, Rachel, the wife that Jacob really loved the most. He really loved Rachel. But Benjamin, or Bunyamin, which means son of the right, that's the father of you so-called West Indians. You so-called West Indians today, that's your forefather. Okay. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob sent not with his brethren, for he said, lest peradventure mischief befall him. Right, because something had already happened to Joseph, because at this time, Jacob is thinking that Joseph is dead, Very spiritual story, what I'm saying? But we're just going to get to the meat of it all. All right, verse 5. And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Joseph was the governor over the land. Yeah, so he's what you call a viceroy. He was the second in command, all right? The second Lord, you know? And Joseph was the governor over the land, and he it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth. And Joseph saw his brethren, his brothers, and he knew them, so he recognized them, but made himself strange unto them. Meaning what? They didn't recognize him. So when they saw Joseph, they thought he was a damn Egyptian, you know? you know? He was shaved up, more than likely, you know. Probably didn't have any hair on his face, probably didn't have any hair on his head. You see him on a wall painting, you know, he has that Egyptian headdress, you know, holding the staff. You know, basically he's wearing Egyptian apparel, you know, so you could easily mistake him for a Hamite, you know, a real so-called African. But point being, this shows you how the original Hebrews look, you know. But this is something too for our people that are so-called Puerto Ricans, so-called Cubans. A lot of our people like to bash the darker skinned tribes, even within their own tribe. They like to bash or, you know, look with disdain towards their brothers and sisters that may have darker pigment, you know, because of colonialization, you know. But hey, well, guess what? The way you look, you didn't always look how you look, man. You know, you didn't always look like that. You know, and we've all been dispersed and scattered. But when you go back so far in the history, you're gonna find out some truth, man. Hey, like we always get, you know, you're reading the scrolls, Psalm 85 and 11. I tell you what, let's get it, because that's one of my favorite verses. You know, hey, me and the Zaquan Malcolm, man, we used to get that a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I mention him oftentimes, man, because, you know, I really, I have a high respect, you know, for the Zaquan Malcolm. You know, we used to tag team on different historical lessons, you know, getting into the history. So like I said, this is special to me that the Lord blessed me to find it, you know. But, you know, let's get this, man, because this verse goes into archaeology. Okay, this is Psalms chapter 85 and verse 11. Truth shall spring out of the earth. This right here. You know? Yes, indeed, baby. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Yeah, you know, so you have the truth out of the scriptures, but you also have different historical records and ancient finds, you know, history resurfacing. Once again, you know, different artifacts, archaeology, which archaeology study of the old or the ancient is all coming back. Why? Because it's the end. You see? You know? Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Which that goes to those satellites, you know. You deal with the World Wide Web. It's pretty much like an internet scripture too, you know. But yeah, you can't get around that, man. And Esau Edom hates this. All right, this is a this is a spiritual spirit to him, you know. Yeah, it look like that staff is a spirit that Joseph holding on to. But yeah, hey, this is a spiritual knockout, man. Like this really gets to E. You know what I'm saying? Because it shows that the people that's parading themselves to be us, they're not the people, man. And like Elder Bunyan say, they hate us because they ain't us. All right. But yeah, let's go back to Genesis. All right, so this is Genesis 42 and verse 7. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, like a foreigner. And once again, when they saw him, he looked different. He didn't look how he was looking in the land of Canaan. You know, having that the coat of many colors that Jacob gave him. You know what I'm saying? Which I just think the story itself is spiritual, because you got to see Yasha Allah, you got to see Israel within that story, because when you think about that coat of many colors, it represent the tribes pretty much, man. They represent the tribes, because we're not all the same. It's a variety. When you deal with the tribes of Israel. You know what I'm saying? But basically, what happened with Joseph really happened to us. Like that, when you read these different stories, you got to look at them with a spiritual eye, okay? Joseph being separated from his brothers, that happened to Israel, man. And you look at us as a collective, as a nation, the northern kingdom was separated from the southern kingdom. And once again, Joseph represent that second stick, and it's spiritual. Like I mentioned, you had a number 2. 2 was a significant number when dealing with Joseph. The number 2 and the number 11, because he was the 11th son of Jacob. All right, and once again, dealing with 11, which like I said, 1 + 1 is 2. 2 can represent a unity, like unison, or separation. So they were separated, but the Lord brought them back together. But let's go back to this, okay? When our forefathers came to land of Egypt to get grain, they saw Joseph. They didn't recognize him, but he recognized them. All right. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. Because once again, he looked like an actual Egyptian. And what do the original Egyptians look like? That's not rocket science. Come on now. And we know that those Ishmaelites over there today, that they're not the original Hamites. Because people want to say, well, those people, they're Middle Eastern, or and we used to, oh boy, I know this is a whole other topic, but when you get on the topic of the Messiah, they'll say, well, he's Middle Eastern. Well, to quote the beloved Apostle Tahar, when you think about the other nations and the nations in general, when you hear Apostle Tahar talking about the nations, he calls them the dark nations, because all nations outside of Edom are different shades of brown. So you could say Middle Eastern, but who's in the Middle East? But anyway, they didn't recognize him because he looked like a Hamite, how he was dressed. But it shows you that originally the 12 sons of Jacob, they were different shades of brown. They were dark skinned. Okay, and once again, this is the forefather of you so-called Puerto Ricans and Cubans today. All right, so we're gonna go from there to chapter 45. Excuse me. And it's something in particular I wanted to show. Okay, just give me a second. Give me a second. Yeah, all right. Genesis chapter 45 and verse 1. Genesis 45 and 1. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, cause every man to go out from me. Or excuse me, cause every man to go out from me. Which when he saw them the first time, he had to go in the cut and shed some tears, man. You know? Hey, because although, what happened to him, basically originally it was out of envy and pretty much his brothers was looking at him like, man, hey, this this crazy ninja basically want to reign over us and stuff like that. So, they put him in that pit, You know what I'm saying? But that was really all set up in the spirit. I'm gonna finish reading this, man, and I'm gonna show something. It's crazy too, man. I wasn't coughing until I started doing this. It's a lot. And that says, cause every man to go out from me, and there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph, doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. So yeah, when they recognized, oh man, like, damn, that's him, they were in shock, Mentally it effed them up. Like, man, whoa, like, because he looked all different. You know what I'm saying? Like they couldn't believe it. But then they knew it was him, And it's significance with this story. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like when I first started getting into it, I got a bit emotional about it, because it's some heavy history. You know what I'm saying? But let's deal with the tribes, okay? Now what you're looking at is an old photograph of Ephraim, which in the Hebrew is Archaeology. You read from right to left. Archaeology, which means I am fruitful, okay? They're known for having a lot of sons and daughters. Okay, but just want to show some pictures because you have the so-called Taino, which the people on the island of Puerto Rico, they descend from those native inhabitants that were called Taino, and they didn't give themselves that name Taino. That was actually given to them by the Spanish. All right. And when you're around Ephraim, they're just like us. You want to know why? Because they are us. You know what I'm saying? They are us. And like I said, the Zaquan Malcolm from Chicago, he gifted me this between 2009 and 2011. I'm not sure what year, because it could have been 2009, but I'm not sure. But 2009, that's when I had went to PR, But it's heavy in the spirit because like right before I had went, the Lord had it to where I was talking to a lot of Ephraimites. Actually, right before I came into ministry, the Lord had me around Ephraim a lot. He had me around Ephraim a lot and Benjamin in particular. And aside from Ephraim, the other northern tribes. But dealing with my walk before I came into ministry, I was around a lot of Ephraim and Benjamin. But right before I had went to PR, the Lord had it to where, there was some Ephraimites that would come on my job at the time, when I was living in Illinois, because I was pretty much like a caretaker in a way, for this Ephraimite woman whose name was Anna, and she looked at me like her son, but her actual son, he would come up there to where I worked at, excuse me, and he would check on his mother, but he would talk to me like basically like we brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you like, man, don't look at me like we different, like we the same. And like he would keep encouraging me to go to PR. He would constantly encourage me, so I like, man, I'm gonna go. And I went, and it was a good trip. You know what I'm saying? It was and it was a spiritual trip as well, man. A very spiritual trip. Because and I had went with my brother Lahab, but yeah, we was on the beach, man. Because we pretty much in San Juan, which is the capital. We was in between old San Juan and new San Juan, so it was hard for us to leave that area at the time. But basically, a lot of the people that you would see, as far as Ephraim, they remind you of your cousins and stuff like that, man. Like, really, to me, it was no different. And then when you deal with some of these islands, they have like a country vibration to them. So really, in a way, I felt like I ain't leave Mississippi. It's just that I'm on a beach, pretty much. I'm by water. But we the same, man. But I learned a lot when I had went there, But we definitely the same people. Oh, another thing too. One of the Subarios, I'm saying it correctly. One of the subdivisions of PR is called San Jose, man, which is pretty much within San Juan. But out of all the names, it's San Jose, which means Saint Joseph. But yeah, show some more images. Once again, you have a lot of Ephraim. They know that they descend from the Taino, which the Taino are Israelites, man. Okay. And you're not Puerto Ricans, really, you're Israelites. All right. With some of these Jakes, really, some of them they look like my cousins, man. And, Ephraim, they love baseball. They love baseball and like basketball. They love some of the same sports that you Jakes in America like. Which you not only got Ephraim in PR. Most Ephraim actually live in Babylon, man. Most Ephraim, where they at? They in New York, New Jersey, Florida, Chicago, Hawaii, California. Ephraim every damn where. Some of them even in Mississippi, man. But yeah, this is a baseball player. I believe his name is Roberto Clemente, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you look at him, he look like he could be Southern Kingdom, but he's not. He's Ephraim, And this damn Zoe Saldana, I'm not even sure why I got this in here, because she's actually Simeon. Her father is a so-called Dominican, and her mother is Ephraim. Which when you deal with them islands, the tribes, those that have the finances, they bounce back and forth. Like you'll have a lot of Ephraim in DR, Dominican Republic, which is also called Hispaniola. The original name is Quisqueya, which means motherland, because the tribes, they was reminiscent on Israel, because Israel really, the motherland. But the tribes, they bounce back and forth. So you'll have Ephraim in DR, and vice versa, man. You have Simeon, in PR. But hey, but them tribes, it's crazy. A lot of them hate each other, man. But we just, we the same, same people. But yeah, just showing some images, what I'm saying, just different so-called celebrities, that's Ephraim or whatnot. All right. But when you deal with the tribes, I do the same damn thing. You into the same stuff, you know. You into the same trends and fads. It's more proof you're the same, man. The only difference really, in some cases, may be skin complexion. Because as it's written, Ephraim is a cake not turned. That's in the book of the prophet Hosea. You deal with a cake not turned. For example, you have a pancake. The top layer will be light, and the layer that's on the bottom, that's on the pan, will darken due to the heat. So you have Ephraimites that are light, you have Ephraimites that are dark. Proof is, hell, we just showed Roberto, So you have Roberto right here, and you have this this Ephraimite reggaeton artist right here. I forget his name right now. Okay. Yeah, because I had these papers for years, man, because every once in a while I get on this topic, But yeah, the only difference between the tribes dealing with the southern and the northern kingdom, for the most part, aside from skin complexion, due to the dispersion and colonization, other than that, it's a language barrier. Because if you understood what each other could say, you would see we the exact same, man. To where it can blow your damn mind. how identical you are, because you're the same people. And it's different tribes, but really we're the same, man. Everybody know about this guy here. The Drink Champs, Noriega. But yeah, when you listen to guys like Nori, guys like Fat Joe, and before this rapper passed, what was his name? Big Pun. I mean, come on, man. See, for guys that don't believe they're the tribes, really, you're just not knowledgeable, and you really haven't been around them. Okay. But yeah, just looking at this image here. All right. And then looking at our people today. Okay. This is Jake Calle 13. The Ephraimite reggaeton artist or whatnot. And once again, this is old. I'm grateful that it's still in decent condition. You know what I'm saying? But we've been going into this for years, Daddy Yankee. But once again, you look at Ephraim, turn around, look at their forefather, Okay? So Weiss and Yandel. Fat Joe, Ephraim. Okay, and these are some pretty, popular artists right here. They're very popular artists, among Ephraim. Okay, and that's the point right there. I'm just showing some images and help paint that picture. Okay, so give me a second. I'm going to show something else. Just bear with me. Just Bible shot, bear with me. Now we're going to deal with so-called Cubans. Okay. So-called Cubans, which before I transition to that, we were speaking on Ephraim, right? which in the Hebrew is Aparium, which means I am fruitful. I am fruitful. Okay. Now you have the word Boricua. You know, so-called Puerto Ricans will call themselves Boricua. You know, and they would call the land of Puerto Rico Borikin. Now, that derives from the Hebrew. I just want to show that before I speak on Manasseh. Okay. And this is old information, but you know, I'm going into this for those of you that may not have heard it before. But we're gonna break down the word Borikin, all right, which means land of the brave and noble lords. Land of the brave and noble lords. So to explain it, now you have the word Bo in Borikin. Bo goes back to the Taino word Boeo or Boeo, Boeo, which means round house, which goes back to the Lashuan Kodash, that goes back to the Hebrew. And where is it? Boeo goes back to the Hebrew word Bayath. Bayath, which means house. That means house. Okay. Now you have Re in Borikin. Re, it means valiant, valor, brave spirit. Now we dealing with the Hebrew because that's what it goes back to. Re derives from the Hebrew word Ra'ash. Ra'ash, which means head. You know, like a leader. You know, but the head or the leader was someone that's brave. You know, a leader, because you want your leader to be brave, right? You know, so that's Re and Borikin, and last word is Ke. Borike or Borikin. Now, Ke means earth or land. All right, it means earth or land, which goes back to the Hebrew word Quadaquai. K goes back to Quadaquai. Quadaquai, which means the ground or the floor, basically the earth. You know, so when you deal with Borike or Borikin, so like, let me get my other page. So ain't got a lot of papers. Bear with me, Bible Shah. Here we go. Okay, cool. So when you deal with Borike or Borikin, it means house of the Lord of the land. Okay? Borikin, the land of PR, Puerto Rico. All right? It goes back to Borikin, which in the Hebrew is Bayath Ra'ash Quadaquai, which is the house of the Lord of the land. Okay? Now, why were they speaking what scholars would call corrupted Hebrew? because they have to be that. Okay, so they have to be the people. Now, let's see. We're gonna speak on Manasseh. All right. Just give me a second, man, because I have a lot of info, and I pray this is edifying. Okay, because a lot at one time. You know what I'm saying? But once again, we're showing how Joseph is the father of Ephraim and Manasseh. So although our people may look different today, this still their father. All right. At the end of the day, and eventually the Lord is going to undo all these curses that's on Israel, man. So they won't look at themselves with an evil eye, you know. But dealing with Manasseh, which in the Hebrew is Manasseh. Now I don't have it written down right now. I just have the original word for Cuba in the Hebrew. That's Quabah. But you can look up the word Manasseh on your own when you get time. All right. But Manasseh in the Hebrew is Manasseh, which means made to forget. You know. But yeah, that's all spiritual. When you think about them names, you know, Ephraim and Manasseh, that tells Joseph's story, you know. And that's really what happened to Jake. You know what I'm saying? Even outside of Joseph's story, you think about what happened to us, because names are spiritual, man. Your name fulfills what you're going to do on the earth. You know, what's going to happen to you. You know, your life purpose, like, hey, that's in your name, you know. But dealing with Manasseh, which are the so-called Cubans today, now proving that they come from the same man, because you have Ephraimites that come from Joseph, but you also have Manassites that come from Joseph. Ephraim known for being fruitful, you know, which are once again so-called Puerto Ricans today. But you deal with the original word for Cuba, which in Hebrew is Quabah. It means this right here. Let's get it. A large vaulted tent. A large vaulted tent. Now you look at the island of Cuba, that's the biggest island in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, it can house a lot of people. There's a lot of people on the island of Cuba. All right. But then that's spiritual too, because when you go back to our forefather Joseph, Manasseh was his firstborn, not Ephraim. So, you know, you look at the islands in the Western Hemisphere, you know, Manasseh has the larger island, but, you know, you think about an older brother. Ephraim has the smaller island, but Ephraim is still more fruitful than Manasseh. It's showing you, hey, the Lord is far out, man, how he did that. But Cuba goes back to Quabah, which means a large vaulted tent. And I pray I don't come off as vulgar or anything, but some other meanings for Quabah. If you got any, you know, youth, you know, toddlers around you, you may want to get them out the room. All right. But I got to say what it means, though. Quabah is also a Hebrew word for vagina. Okay. But once again, these tribes are known for being fruitful. So Quabah, it can mean a large vaulted tent. It can mean vagina, and it can also mean the womb, like the womb of a woman. So you can't tell me, like, come on, man. Why would the Lord have, you know, that island mean that? That's that tribe, bro. I don't give a damn what these other Jakes say. It makes sense, you know. You know what I'm saying? You got different Manasseh fighters, you know, which Manasseh is also one of our warrior tribes. You have Gad, Reuben, and half tribe Manasseh. You know, that's not a coincidence, you know, because you got a lot of Manassites, so-called Cubans. They love to fight, you know. And it's spiritual too, because when you look at Manasseh and you turn around, you look at, you know, some Ephraim, they look alike. I mean, they resemble each other because those two tribes are very close because they both come from Joseph. All right. And once again, you have, you know, lighter skin Ephraimites, you have darker skin Ephraimites, you have lighter skin Manassites, and you have darker skin Manassites, because the Lord, he's all about variety. And once again, going back to that coat of many colors, that really represents Jake, you know, they represent us. You know what I'm saying? Or another thing too, let me see if I still have it. And bear with me because, you know, I'm doing a lot. I have a lot of information with me. But something I had wanted to make mention of, I wanted to show before I forget about it. You have the onyx stone. All right. And the onyx stone is the stone in the high priest's breastplate that represent Joseph. And Abaratazah, I could do another video on this, you know, Lord willing, it'll be more concise. I'm not gonna say short, but I can be more to the point on that video. Now, the Hebrew word, because I looked it up earlier, the Hebrew word for onyx resembles what Ephraim would call their idols on the island of Puerto Rico, which you look it up, is semi. It's semi, but I want to say the Hebrew word for stone, and I got to look it back up. But like I said, I'll do another video on it. I want to say is shama, but it resembles, you know, the word semi. Now, for Ephraim in particular, you know, the so-called Taino. Let me get a better picture for you. The so-called, you know, Taino, which, you know, so-called Puerto Ricans today, they come from the Taino. They believed in that idol semi to represent their ancestors. You know, you look it up. You know, semi, C-E-M-I, if I'm not mistaken. But that represents the idols that they worship or believe in. But the Hebrew word for onyx, which the onyx represents Joseph, and the priest in the priest's breastplate, the onyx represents Joseph. The way you say onyx in the Lashon Kodash in the Hebrew, I want to say shama, and it sounds similar to semi, but shama or the onyx represent Joseph. But it's spiritual. Ephraim say that the onyx represents their ancestors. Now, who was their ancestors or ancestor? Joseph, man, because that onyx represented him. And you know, Abaratazah, I can go into some of the stones on the breastplate of the high priest. It's a bit difficult to go into because some of those stones maybe other stones, they may have different meanings. So we can pick out, majority of them, but it's hard to get everything precise because the different lands, different geographical locations of the stones, and Esau Edom says how some stones represent something else. For example, you see sapphire in the scriptures really is lapis lazuli, and Esau is right about that. So it's hard to get everything exact dealing with that. That's why scriptures say we prophesy in part. But dealing with Joseph, his stone is the onyx, but that's spiritual because Joseph, he was put in the pit. He was put in the pit, but eventually he was brought out of the pit. So he was brought out of darkness. Now, the onyx stone, it represents darkness. It's known for absorbing negative energy. It's known for and I'm all over the place, excuse me, but I'm just explaining something. It's known for absorbing negative energy. It's known for isolation also, because Joseph, he was in that pit by himself. So the onyx, darkness, a pit. Okay. Also, onyx, when you look it up, it refers to a fingernail. And it's crazy how the Lord can explain so much just with a stone, man. The onyx goes into a fingernail, just like, hey, Joseph was in that pit. You can only imagine he was trying to climb up out of it, and he couldn't. Probably breaking his fingernails, clawing the walls to get out of there. He couldn't get out of there, man. But yeah, onyx is also a stone for anxiety. It's a stone for separation, a stone for anxiety, a stone also to keep you grounded. It's like your sit you down stone. Let me sit myself down somewhere type stone. That's what it is. But yeah, excuse me. But yeah, the onyx represent Joseph. And once again, you have Ephraim, that were called Taino. They believe in idols that they call Semi. Semi represents spirits and ancestors. The way you say onyx in the Hebrew is Shama, which is similar to Semi, and that onyx represents Joseph. So that's their ancestor. And it's so much more you can cover with this topic. Like I said, overall, I pray it's edifying, because I've been going for about an hour. So I'm going to get ready to close it out in a minute. You know what I'm saying? You have people in PR, people in so-called Puerto Rico. They're called Ibado. Ibado. That's where you get the word Ibar, which is Hebrew, Ibar, which basically, you read it, it says, is a term commonly used in Puerto Rico to refer to mountain-dwelling peasants. Basically, you could say country boys, man. Like country boys. Even when Israel came into Egypt, what archaeologists tell us they were called Ixus or Hyksos, different interpretations. One of the interpretations means shepherd kings, but it's like country boys, and because Israelites were known for being shepherds, they were known for being shepherds, Hey, when you think of the South or a country type region, you think of farms, But yeah, Ibado is where you get the word Ibar, which is Hebrew. So it's just so much undeniable proof, man. And I don't even got to get all this because it's like, after a while, it's what people call redundant. which the prophets are broken records. So, brothers don't mind. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? Not only Ephraim are called Ibado. Ibado is used in Cuba. Oh, Asher, Colombia, Brazil, Venezuela. You know, they're called Ibado or Hebrews. Ecuador, which if I'm not mistaken, that's also in South America, dealing with Asher. Oh, even in Mexico, hey, Issachar. Yeah, man. Yeah, you can't get around it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, that's the point. Okay, once again, I pray this is edifying, man. Um, let's see what else I can show. Okay, that's really enough for right now. I may do another video on Joseph. You know what I'm saying? Um, because there's a picture of Joseph with the Ixus or the Hyksos. There's a picture of Joseph. I believe it to be a picture of him because out of all the Hyksos, he's the only one with this very colorful garment. It got to be him. You know what I'm saying? But I be laughing, man. And Jay got a joke down here because I got this colorful jacket. That Jay be calling me Joseph, man. You know. But yeah, hey, Jay love colors. You know what I'm saying? But but yeah, like I said, our Lord will come back and do that one. Because it's more proof. That story of our people going down into Egypt, that really happened. All this history that you read about in the scriptures, it actually happened, man. You know, it did. It did, man. So, I mean, that's it. I'll be beating a dead horse, but the truth is undeniable, man. And Lord willing, I'm gonna come back and speak on Gad. The scriptures say how, in the end, Gad will overcome at the last. Gad are the so-called North American Indians today, man. Okay. I've been thinking about Gad a lot. And see if I can show something before I close out. Just give me a second. Because I should have it on me. Okay. Because Edom likes to make mockery of Jake, man. Give me a second here. Yeah. What y'all know about this coin here? This is a Gadite woman with a baby on her back, a Gadite baby on her back. But see, all the mockery is gonna come to an end. Taking Israel for a joke. But hey, this is all proof that the United States, Babylon the Great, has to be the new Egypt because they have all 12 tribes in captivity. Like we was all in captivity together in ancient Egypt, man. So Lord, what I'm gonna do more vids on Gad. You know what I'm saying? Just got 2 coins, that made me think of Gad. This is a nickel right here. It has a buffalo on it. We know that Edom murdered the majority of the buffalo to starve out Gad. That's how much they hated Gad, man. You know what I'm saying? But as scriptures tell us, Gad, a truth shall overcome him. But guess what? like Elder Malcolm would say, Zaquan Malcolm would say, manifest destiny has a part 2. He shall overcome at the last. All right. Hey, Edom ain't off the hook. Yeah, man. Which speaking on Hebrew, I haven't went over this in a while. I may go over it again. But me and the elder brother Bunyamyan down in Mississippi, and I want to say 2017, we had went to the Los Lunas Decalogue Stone, and pretty much, Spirit had got on me to translate the commandments And it's all Hebrew, man. You know, we went there, we did a video, you know what I'm saying? You know, just more proof. If we're not the people, why are we writing and speaking Hebrew? You know? I mean, it's like, come on now. But yeah, dealing with the original topic though, dealing with the tribes, Ephraim and Manasseh, they got the same forefather, which is Joseph, man. And we saw how Joseph looks. This how he looked, okay? It didn't have to be this long, but you know, I wanted to do it like this anyway to be happy with it. But yeah, bro. Let's see if there's any precepts. I don't really see any. You know, which this is really one of those more educational type videos. So, I mean, brothers don't have to put up precepts. But yeah, you have Ephraim and you have Manasseh, man. Once again, same forefather. All right. Now, see if we have anything, but I don't see anything. Yeah, nothing on the comment board. Yeah, it's all good, man. I tell you what, we can get a scripture or two and close it out. All right, we can go to Genesis 49. Okay. Slot. Genesis chapter 49, and we're speaking about Joseph. The topic is Joseph. All right, verse 22. And that says, Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, meaning very fruitful. Okay? Very fruitful. He will have a lot of sons and daughters. Okay? Whose branches run over the wall, which is our women, you know, Ephraimite women running over the walls to deal with those Spaniards. Okay? To deal with those Edomites when they came back into power. The archers, which are those Spaniards, have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him because they wanted to exterminate the so-called Taino. You know, they brought their numbers down very low, man. That's some extreme hatred. But his bow, a bow in strength, meaning he was able to get his numbers back up, you know, by reproducing. Okay? And the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. Yeah, because Yahweh Bashim Yahushua preserved them. That's why they still here. Jacob's still here, man. Okay? From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Right, Yahushua. Even by the God of thy father who shall help thee, and by the blessing, and by the Almighty who shall bless thee with the blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lie under, you know, under the water, and blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessing of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors, because Ephraim and Manasseh are known for being fruitful. We broke those names down. Okay. Now it says, unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills, they shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Right, so that's heavy, man. And now we in the time of the tribes come back together. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. The Wadat them Yad to Wap. I'm going to